Hi everyone, Miracle and the Sleeper here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of a cozy hypnotherapist session room. And today, we're going to be doing a review of the new Virgilio, Morse and Jennings album, Troika. Supergroups are really nothing new in the world of music, and nowadays especially, it does feel like you can't go 5 minutes without a new one being announced. From the earliest classic examples like Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Crosby, Stills and Nash and Asia, to the slightly more contemporary Gordian Knot and Transatlantic. It's always been a very done thing to team up with your musical peers and make something creative together. The results, though, can often be a bit of a varied mix. Sometimes it's really obvious who the ringleader of the band is and that they clearly just wanted other big name musicians along for the ride to play the music that they've written without any real input from anyone else involved. Although you do sometimes get a true representation of the ability and songwriting skills of every person involved to create a wonderful, exciting, and potentially just really weird fusion of everything they're all known for. Funnily enough, all three of the musicians here are no strangers to the supergroup life, with each of them, to a certain degree, having been involved in extracurricular projects outside of their usual band. The point that I'm trying to make here, though, is that despite the outward appearances and the people involved, I would very much not consider this to be a supergroup. Despite the pedigree, experience, and reputation of the artist on display here, this feels very much more like a down-tempo musical jam session between some of the biggest names in the progressive music world. I can just imagine everyone involved over a Zoom call being like, hey, we'll do some songs together, and they're like, yeah, all right, we can do that, sure. I'll admit I was a bit blindsided by this release. For me, it sort of came out of nowhere. I'd somehow managed to avoid all of the pre-release hype surrounding it, and hadn't even been made aware of the fact there were singles for this, weeks ago. Which kind of makes me wonder just how well marketed this album has actually been. It was only, in fact, when I saw Notes and Nathan on Shuffle's collaborative review of this album that I even became aware of its existence. Link to that can be found down below. Go check it out. Really good review. But aware of it I became, and I could not resist the idea of three of my favourite musicians collaborating on a lovely little musical get-together. And that's honestly what this record really is. It's a fun, whimsical, often charming little album between some extremely talented people. It definitely has a bit of a weekend project vibe about it. Everyone just kind of feels super relaxed and chill, and it really carries itself well into the music. I mean, there's nothing grandiose or epic here. There's no 20-minute plus songs. This is just three guys playing music together, and they're having a great time doing it. There is actually a decent bit of variety to be found on this record, though, a lot more than I was originally anticipating. I mean, I fully expected to be going into this and finding what is essentially a Neil Morse acoustic record, with Nick and Ross kind of playing second fiddle and not really contributing much. I was pleasantly surprised, though, to find the opposite. There's quite a lot of input here from all three guys, be it instrumentally, vocally, or compositionally. I mean, yes, there's the very Morsean acoustic stuff that I've come to expect, but there's a lot of really unique vocal harmonies, excellent guitar work, intricate drumming, and some honestly quite heavy, well, relatively speaking at least, material on offer towards the latter half of the record. In terms of sort of highlights, I would say the song Secondhand Suns legitimately sounds like it could have come straight off of Spoxbeard's landmark album Snow. It's got that kind of grimy, sleazy, hard rock feel that parts of that album, such as Devil's Got My Throat, had. And it might be just because I'm such a sucker for that record, but it's a real obvious highlight here. The closing track, What You Leave Behind, is also worth quite a special mention. It evokes similar vibes to Transatlantic's We All Need Some Light, or perhaps even just the closing track off the Neil Morse band's Great Adventure, A Love That Never Dies, albeit slightly less overblown. It's a heartfelt, beautiful song with quite a poignant message and some of the best vocal harmonies to be found on the album. The chorus alone will get stuck in your head for days, and it's definitely a great way to close off the album. It has to be said that there's not really any categorically bad songs on here. Although that being said, some of the lyricism can leave a little bit to be desired. It kind of often falls into the trap of being kind of bad cheesy rather than good cheesy, the sort that kind of makes you just cringe a little bit. But the worst the album really gets, though, is that it's a little derivative in places and can get a bit self-indulgent. But even then, tracks like Another Trip Around the Sun, King for a Day, and the aforementioned Secondhand Suns and What You Leave Behind, for me, do more than enough to make up for it. I would say that my chief criticism of the album, really, is that I genuinely don't feel that Ross Jennings is used enough vocally throughout. mostly being resigned to backing vocals and harmonies, with only a select few moments where he really gets to take the lead and shows what he can do. But at least when he gets the chance, he soars higher than ever. His solo record last year certainly painted him as a hell of an artist to watch, with an enormous artistic range beyond his vocal duties in Haken. And his performances here only serve to solidify that, and I will certainly be watching his career grow over the coming years with great interest. Ultimately, though, Troika is a fun little project, but it's not one that's likely to set the world on fire. It's enjoyable whilst it lasts, though, but outside of a handful of standout songs, I don't feel there's really much incentive to come back here for a whole album listen. I am glad this album does exist, though, as quite frankly, I'll take more of Ross's vocals however and whenever I can get them. And with Haken's 7th album due out hopefully later this year, it won't be the last time I'm talking about Ross either. As for Neil and Nick, well, they're just happy doing what they've always done, pumping out their comfortably familiar brand of easy listening dad rock prog. And I fully expect that whatever comes next from them will continue fitting into this formula, for better or worse. I mean, I've always enjoyed the output from both of them, so whether we next get another Neil Morse band record or another Big Train record, I will certainly be looking forward to hearing whatever comes next. This is all, of course, my opinion, as you know, so tell me what you thought of this record in the comments down below. If you have anything you've listened to this year that you think I should check out, then let me know about it and I might get around to giving it my own thoughts. If you like this video, please do share it with anyone who you think might enjoy it, and please do consider subscribing for more content, and maybe give like those little YouTube thumbs to help out the channel. Yay! Shill, 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 shill. Until next time, though, keep your rhyme signatures odd.